As Chris Paul's name continues to diminish in value and there's not a lot of interest in him, and Miami's on the fence about signing him, you look around the league at people or teams that could be interested in Chris Paul, and I stop here with my Lakers. I do want to put this out in the atmosphere. The Lakers are not interested in acquiring Chris Paul. They don't have the money. And let's just say Chris Paul in this ideal world, right? Let's say Chris Paul said, you know what, life ain't about money. I'm going to give back my $100-some million that the Thunder were going to have to pay me. I'm going to let them buy me out for $20-30 million, which is stupid, by the way. This would be dumb. This would be all-time level dumb for Chris Paul. But let's just say he wanted to do it to live in Los Angeles and play for a championship. Let's say happiness was the most important thing to him. Let's say the Thunder bought him out for super cheap. He would lose over $100 million, and he was free to sign with whatever team he wants. What if the Lakers looked at Chris Paul and said, we think Rondo's better for us right now? I disagree with that. I think I would take Chris Paul over Rondo right now. I think Chris Paul would complement LeBron and Anthony Davis well. But it would be changing the offense again. Now you go from LeBron being the primary ball handler to Chris Paul being the primary ball handler. And then you look around at that roster, they would have to literally release Rajon Rondo. They would just have to release him. You cannot have Chris Paul and Rondo on the same team after that man reportedly spit on Chris Paul or spat at Chris Paul. So you would have to make decisions if you're Los Angeles, even in the ideal world, if Chris Paul was free to sign for the veterans minimum. You would have to make a big-time decision and probably shift that roster up. And if I'm Anthony Davis, I don't know, man. I don't know if I want to deal with all that. Another hothead in my locker room, another big-time ego and personality. We already got DeMarcus Cousins. I don't know about that one. I think that would be too risky. I don't see the Lakers in any scenario acquiring Chris Paul, even if he were free. I can see why Chris Paul would want to be on the Lakers. All right, it's better than playing in Oklahoma City. It really comes down to what Chris Paul wants out of life. I don't know anyone willing to give up $100 million. To me, it seems like Chris Paul is going to probably end up being in Miami or playing his next foreseeable future, his couple years, in Oklahoma City. I know he don't want to do that, but there's just not a lot of interest in CP3 right now. And I know he wants to be in Los Angeles. He's got a home out there, but it's just too much to make that deal work right now. For an aging veteran point guard, I don't know. I came from nothing, but I want everything God has for me. I interview celebrities. I talk sports. I still represent the culture.
You are now tuned in.
Yeah, we locked in right now,
Mr.Taliaferro.
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 Shout out to Mr.Taliaferro.
You're watching Mr.Taliaferro TV.
Mr. Taliaferro TV. Here with the Triple B's, you can't do nothing but win.